This work is what the father-friendly principles look like in action. I will just share personally. I've been working in early childhood education for about 15 years, children, youth, and family programming for over 30 at this point. I know I look younger than I am. But so with that said, I have seen the work of the Fatherhood Initiative actually begin and bloom. I've had staff while working in early childhood literacy organizations actually go to the trainings. I am also a daddy's girl. I don't think that folks really know that about me, but my dad was my primary caregiver growing up, and so I have a special sort of love for fathers in general. So I'm happy to be with you all here today. I'm going to have our panelists introduce themselves. So that's Sylvia, Craig, Maria, and Lisa. And just do real quick, and then we'll get into the action and the conversation.
Hello, I'm Sylvia Avila, and I work for the Head Start program out in Livermore and the Tri-Valley, and we serve Livermore, Pleasanton, and Hayward area. I've been working for Head Start for about 40 years, and it's my passion. And I really embrace family engagement.
Hi all, my name is Maria Suho. I'm the Director of Early Learning at Alameda County Office of Ed. Previously I worked at OUSD as a Director of Kindergarten Readiness, Family Engagement for me. Is this on? No. Sorry. Okay, is that better? Sorry. So yeah, family engagement, like what my partner here said, is really important to me, and I came to the fatherhood work not too long ago through the invitation of Ms. DeMonica Robinson, who's here today, who brought this to me, and yeah, really made it blossom at OUSD. So very excited to be here with you all today.
Hello. Oh, is it not? Hello?
Yes.
Oh, hello. Lisa Taylor from the City of Oakland Head Start. I told Kevin, even though I was sick in the hospital on Tuesday, I wasn't gonna miss this today. I have a diverticulitis. Look it up. Anyway, because fathers are very important to me, just like Jen. My father is very important to me, and I'm glad this collaboration, this partnership that we have with Father Corps, that's going to continue. And I got more to say, but yes, City of Oakland Family and Community Engagement Coordinator. So yes.
Hello, everyone. My name is Craig Colbert. I am the Family Navigator over at Oakland Unified School District, early childhood learning. You know, I've been with the district for 17 years now. My second year now at early childhood, and you know, I've been in father engagement for the 17 years that I've been at OUSD, making sure that fathers feel comfortable in elementary schools, and now I'm here doing it, making sure that they feel comfortable in early education now.
Thank you all for introducing yourselves and sharing your experience with us. We know that bridge building and systems building work is incredibly important. It's particularly important to me that we are doing systems alignment. So I'm going to kick it off with the first question. And the first question is, what was the initial motivation or need that led your site to prioritize father engagement?
At least for me, for the City of Oakland, I've been here for about 8 years, and they had something. I noticed that they had a male involvement, but it wasn't implemented. Let's put it that way. And I didn't see it fully implemented where they were welcoming dads, where things were really happening, like events. So it took about a couple years. I was like, no, we got to do something here. I know they had like fathers and ambassadors. We had a couple of men, Everardo, Harold, but it didn't go nowhere for me. And I was like, hey, we need some more for our dads. Our dads are special. You know, our dads look up, our children look up to our dads, and we need to make sure that, you know, we have a program for our dads. So it initiated with that for me. Is I didn't see it, And so I was like, no, something needs to be done. So that's how I got it started. And that's what I did. And I got an award last year. So thank you, because I got that started. But no, seriously, I'm glad for this program. And because a lot of dads I was raised from a single, well, after they got divorced when I was 12. Anyway, my dad raised me and my sister. So it made a big impact. And so I think part of education, my dad got us tutors. My dad was there, he passed away 8 years ago, but my dad has been there for me. I mean, helping me with track, have us run around, running after the car so we could be the best track stars. But back to dads are needed in the schools, and they need to be a part of the education, and they need to be welcomed. So that's how it started for me, though. It was a passion of mine. Yeah, and I've been with Head Start too about 25. City of Oakland, yeah. Unity Council, go ahead.
So I am currently at ACOE, but I'm going to speak to my experience as at OUSD as a director of kindergarten readiness. And so in that tenure, I was really holding in family engagement initiatives and work at OUSD around that and supporting our family navigators. And so we'd been doing family engagement, but we were not intentional about engaging our dads. And as I mentioned earlier, Ms. DeMonica Robinson was really involved in doing this work, pulled me in and was like, hey, Maria, this is really important. Our dads, we have a ton of dads here, support me in launching this. And so I said, yeah, let me see how I could step in and support you. And some real magic happened at Lockwood CDC, right? And so looking at that, looking at the learning, seeing how the dads were hungry for it, seeing how the staff was also doing this work and debunking the myth that exists around who our fathers are and who they're not, what they don't do and what they do, right? And especially our Black and brown dads. It felt really transformative. So then the following year, I was like, all right, we need to spread this magic throughout the school district. And so then we started piloting it at 5 of our sites with our district leaders, principals, TSA, family navigators. Craig's gonna talk a bit about that. So it was really important for us. So I think 2 things, and it was listening to the wisdom of existing teachers, and then also debunking the myth of like the power that dads bring and that they do want to be engaged. They're there for it. We just have to know how to invite them.
Thank you for that.
Well, at the Cape Head Start program, we need to raise the awareness, our staff awareness, on how to engage our dads. We knew we needed to provide, male involvement with Head Start performance standards. But we didn't know how to navigate that. So when the Fathers Corp opened up and I started coming to these workshops and getting so excited, it was hands-on on the tables, doing all these projects, and just bringing with other agencies on how they want to implement the same thing. So, became a passion of mine too. And then COVID hit and everything stopped. But everything started, revolving on Zoom meetings, and, I was engaged in those things and getting the staff involved. And during that time, we had a lot of single dads. And then how do we embrace them? What do we need to provide for them to come in? So we started having our, male involvement activities in our classrooms at different sites. And this year, we got to celebrate them all together at one time, had them be in a drumming event. And Kevin was able to come and talk to our dads there. So just opening that bridge and that gap and, bringing dads in and knowing that there are resources out there for you. And we want to embrace you. And every site has their own family advocate. They work with the dads. They do a family partnership agreement with them. They set goals with them. And then just excited about the summit to try to get our dads to come to the summit this year. So we're really going to focus on that this year.
Because it's the first question, I do want to extend, do you want to add anything in terms of like how you got started in this work and why it's important for you?
Yes. It was because of my dad, to be involved in father engagement. I watched him. He had a dad's club, with his AA group, and he used to bring me to his AA group when I was 19 so that I wouldn't be on drugs, and made me bring my friends to the groups too, so that was very helpful for me now. My son asked me to come work at his school. So I wouldn't even be in this space if it wasn't for my son asking me to come work at his school, you know, because that was not my plan, you know. And so I credit both of those people, my oldest son and my dad, you know. And I started it at Kaiser, you know, and you know what I did is I made a space for those dads, you know, to be able to voice their opinions and get together and come up with some things and stuff so that they can feel more comfortable at Kaiser, you know, and we're going to carry that on.
Thank you for sharing that, Craig. So it seems, yes, let's back that. Thank you for that. What I'm hearing is that it starts with one individual. You have to have one motivator at least getting folks mobilized to move forward this work. But as any of you know, in starting something brand new at your site, in your organization, in your community is difficult. And so we're going to talk a little bit about the challenges. I want to know from you all, what challenges did you face, whether internally or externally, when launching this fatherhood engagement work? What'd you do to work through those barriers? And we'll start with two of you first. Craig, do you want to kick us off?
Sure. I have the mic. You know, I faced many challenges, you know, starting this work. You know, we collaborated with Fathers Corp kind of in the middle of the year. And, you know, so we went through the trainings and stuff. So when we got started, it was kind of December area, you know, which kind of had the families already established, you know. But also being a family navigator, we had more than one site. So I was only at Kaiser one day a week, you know. So I had to lean on the staff, you know, and the principal and stuff for being able to know those families and collaborate with those families to help me out and stuff and find that space where I can, you know, excel with those fathers, and then just generally kind of kicking in and getting on with the staff and finding out who those fathers are that I can lean on. You know, it's really being flexible. You know, you have to be flexible with your time. You have to be flexible with your families. You know, that's how you overcome those hurdles and of, you know, not being able to know those communities. You know, being sincere with those families. You know, that helps you out. Also, being honest and direct with those fathers. Fathers love when you're honest and direct and forward with them and stuff, and intentional with your speech and everything, without, you know, any type of judgment. You know, so that's the best thing that, you know, I can tell you about getting over those hurdles and challenges, okay?
Okay, well, the challenges that I had to begin with, it had to do about money. But I wasn't going to let that deter me. I talked to Kevin. I said, Kevin, I need you to come in. I want some daddy and me events. I want some daddy male events at my sites. I want to see it at City of Oakland. So we sat down, had a proposal. The first one, I think the first year things didn't work right. The second year, she said, oh yes, this is what we're gonna do. And next year, or 25, 26, we're gonna have more money to provide more services for our dads and more daddy and me events. It's gonna take place. So this year, 23, 20, I'm all mixed up with my years. 23, 24, we did it big. Daddy and Me events was big at City of Oakland Head Start. Yes, 24, 25, it was the money thing. So, but it's coming. We got more money for you. Money's coming 25, 26, right, Brittany? Okay, got the contracts happening, and we got more money. And but it was a push, and I wasn't gonna let it go. When they said no, oh no, we're gonna do something different. No, you're not. But this is what I want, and but I thank Kevin for helping me and looking over my proposal and, you know, and seeing what I need to take to the table and say, this is what, can you do this? Is this what we can offer for we have to, and like Head Start, it's a mandate. How about that? Okay, putting that back in your face. It's a mandate. It's a mandate. We can't go, but it shouldn't be a mandate for us to help support dads. It's dads should be supported regardless of that mandate. It's a part of a Head Start performance standards.
Yes. I'm gonna hold on that because I'm gonna the next two questions combined might also offer a reflection. So what I heard so far is some funding. As being a manager of a fund, I've gotten a lot of advocacy for certain, and then flexibility, right? Because things don't come overnight. So now thinking about the Father Corps sort of work, how has the trainings, the technical assistance, supported your approach? And also, have you seen any shifts in mindset of your staff in this work? And that you might be able to reflect on some of the challenges that kind of shifted things for you. And let's pass it to Maria.
Got it. Okay, so I think that the changes that we saw, so yes, the challenges were very similar to what y'all mentioned, competing priorities, all of those things. But after we engaged in the work, at OUSD, we did it in clusters. So our principals, our teachers, our TSAs, our family navigators, special ed folks were all in this space. So it was done as a cohort to like maximize our impact, right? And so what we saw was a culture shift. Teachers, everybody that was family facing was just more comfortable in engaging dads. And so dads were feeling more comfortable to attend and join events and connect with teachers. So I think that it was a bit of a culture shift for us that we saw. Kevin and his team, Dara, were amazing with the technical assistance support that we needed, and even in challenging us with very caring, critical feedback on how we engage with dads and the assumptions that teachers and us also as administrators were making, right, when we were like connecting with dads and setting up events. So I would say that like one of the biggest changes that we saw was just a culture shift in how providers and families were engaging. And some of these events, as Renee, who helped us lead one at Jefferson CDC, had like 50 dads show up. So the dads are there for it. We just needed to be thoughtful and intentional on how to engage them and not assume that they didn't want to be there.
It has to do with our classrooms and, you know, dads coming in and dropping off and being kind of shy, just signing in, and, you know, so, you know, just having a greeting the dads, you know, welcoming them, you know, come in, you know, help your child wash their hands, you know, get them settled, you know, just bringing them inch by inch into the classroom. And now we can see that, you know, dads are hanging around outside, they're talking to each other, they're collaborating with each other, and just opening up more events for them, you know, and let them know that our doors are open for them and we want to embrace them. And just getting the staff also to recognize they are important and they need to be around their children. So, you know, that's, you know, one of the challenges were with the staff was how do we do that? And, you know, being part of the Father Corps, it taught the advocates how to work with the dads, how to open it up, how to, you know, have pictures on the walls with dad, how to have a father's corner, you know, just embracing them little by little. And I think we've got it down now. There's always room for improvement and having more activities for them.
Love to hear it. I will also give a chance to Lisa and Craig. Do you have any thoughts about how mind shifts have happened at your respective sites through either the technical assistance or trainings that you've had?
Yes, we had more male involvement with our policy councils this year than any year ever. They've been coming out to all the events at the schools, parent-teacher conferences. I mean, it's been wonderful to see dads more involved out at our sites. And I see the impact on some of our staff too. They have went out of their way, at least, because you know it's a lot of women in ours at the sites and just as teachers. And we need some more male teachers. If you know, I mean, we're hiring. But it's just wonderful to see dads been more engaged in the light up of the children. I have pictures. I didn't bring them. I do have them, but I wish I would have sent them to. So many pictures of children just being excited, engaged. Their daddy's reading me a story. The dads come to the school, have been coming to the sites and reading stories. They've been teaching kickboxing. I want to learn that one. They are out there with the kids doing boxing, kickboxing, and just being more involved, which is needed. And so I have saw change. I would like to see more changes. Like she said, there's always room for improvements. For Kevin to come in and do some more training with all, not just family service workers, but for teachers. I want him to teach the kitchen staff to the janitor. This is because if you're going to approach a father, and it was so nice to see. I'm sorry, I might be good. Last year when we had our events for the dads who didn't know each other to connect, and that was wonderful to see. And Juan was there, so my prayers are for you, Juan, because he helped out and supported a lot of our events too for our Spanish-speaking parents. So, yeah.
All right. Just the shift in perspective with the families and the staff at Kaiser, from fathers being visible on campus, building that trust with the teacher. Getting the information, from both sides of the family and stuff, kind of empowered those dads and stuff to want to be up there. Watching the different shift in behaviors from the kids when dads come up there and wanting to be a positive influence for the kids. So, it was an all around shift, for the school, at events and things like that and stuff. Kids love to see their parents, especially their dads at school. We always see their moms at school, but you get a different type of vibe when you see your dad at school and stuff. And I just experienced that so much with my eyes when I see dads up at the school.
Thank you for that. Now, I'm going to add a question. This is not on the list that they gave me, so I'm just going to oblige me a little bit, Kevin. So I'm interested to know, you guys have all, in some way, shape, or form, participated in trainings related to the Fatherhood Initiative. Can you tell me a little bit about what was kind of like the strongest or most compelling piece in the training? Like, what was the most valuable piece of participating in any of that technical assistance or training that really just was like, yes and yes, let's do this again? And anybody can take that. I know you're not prepared for it, but Craig's ready. Go ahead, Craig.
It was the fatherhood training. I appreciate you guys for the fatherhood training and stuff. It taught me a lot, being on those Zoom calls and stuff. And, it was a lot of content to soak in, a lot of statistics that needed to be said and needed to be recognized. The dad discussions. If you have not been on a dad discussion, man, and I've told Noah this quite a few times, man, like, you guys have helped my day out. Especially when it's a very challenging day, and it's been a very challenging day, I can hop on that dad discussion and know that it's on there and talk to some of the guys and know and everything and just be like, hey, I feel better now. I let that out. It was a space for me to let out and talk to some guys that may have needed help just like me, and just making sure that, that those spaces are open for dads and that they really, really need to let those things out, because we don't have that type of support, when it comes to holding things in and channeling our emotions and things like that. So, those two things really stuck out to me.
Well, I didn't make a lot of trainings this year. I'm not gonna lie, but the trainings that I did, they're very impactful. A lot of great information. I came to a couple of dads discussions, just to see, what was going on. But the father principles, just the overall message about Father Core, the Fatherhood Summit, loved it. And trying to get a lot of our fathers to come out again this year. like they did last year. So that's what I, just like I said, seeing the faces of children and fathers, and just wonderful. So that's what I kind of took in the partnership and the collaboration, and just knowing that fathers, are there for their children, and that it's and all these services are needed. So I took a lot. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm starting to get emotional.
Thank you for that. I'm going to go on to the next question. And Lisa, maybe you're channeling a story, right? So I want to put that to the panel, right? Like thinking about the initiative work, the impact that it's had with children, youth, and families. Can you think of a specific story, a specific dad, or a specific event that really just kind of changed your perspective on how you're going to approach the work?
I'm going to defer to Craig on this one from the OUSD side because he was so much closer to the dads.
Just a lot of guys appreciated, us thinking about them, and one dad, he came to me and was like, hey, I just want to know, is this going to continue in elementary school? And I told him, I said, well, this is what you can do. If your school that you're going to doesn't have it, then I will help you as much as I can to get it started for you. Talk to your PTA at the school, ask them if they have some type of focus group for dads. If they don't, tell them that you're willing to do it. It's all on if you want to do it. And it's on us dads to even, to start these things. Nobody's going to start them for you if you don't want to do it. If there's something that you want to do, then make that happen. So that was a profound thing, and that showed me that he really appreciated that space, that he wanted it to continue on. And it goes from elementary school, which I was doing it in elementary school, but it tends to taper off after you get into middle school and high school, which it should not, because I have a high schooler now and he really needs me. These high schoolers really need male figures and male role models, and have a space for those guys and stuff, because they're going into manhood and they need guidance too, especially from dads who are positive and doing good work. So we need to make sure that, middle school and high school and stuff, they need to get some of this information also.
I agree. So I'm gonna take us to the next question, because you started getting us into that particular piece, and that might kind of encompass some stories. So based on all the experiences that you had, what advice would you provide to either ECE leaders, to other programs that want to get this initiative off the ground at their sites, and what's next for you and your sites? And we'll go down. Why don't we start over on this side? We'll give Sylvia the mic, and then we'll close with Craig.
Well, I think, we have the tools that we need now. So, and there's always room to add more tools. So just, the experience that we've had coming, to the workshops and getting it started from the ground up, being here from the very beginning when the Fatherhood Initiative started, and just continue to build on that, and really embracing our dads year to year, and having our dads who've been in our program before to talk to other dads, to come to our parent meetings and talk to our other dads saying, hey, get involved. It's a benefit, not just for yourself, but for your child. There was we just had this a couple of days ago. We had our children's celebration at the end of the year. And we were able to we did give out certificates to our dads who have been participating. And the look on their face when we called their name up, they were like, they didn't know what to do. So they came up and we presented them with their certificate, and they were like in belief. I could see I was watching a dad just read it over and over again. Then the child came over to him and he goes, look what I got. So it was a beautiful thing. Yeah.
Thank you. I've been thinking about this a lot, and so at the beginning of the school year is when we launched the 5-site cohort at OUSD with our preschool sites, and, you know, like all of the team members that were a part of it, teachers, principals, TSAs. And so I think now thinking about how impactful that work was, and how Craig mentioned that dads are hungry for it, right? They're like, what's going to happen when I go to kindergarten? Or, you know, the importance of having this kind of work in middle school. I think about continuity. And in early childhood, we talk a lot about like PACE realignment, right? And we think about like curriculum, but I think about these like promising practices and how we engage families in preschool, how that should be a strategy that gets carried on throughout children's schooling years, right? Into elementary school, into middle, and into high. So I'm going to look over at my OUSD partners and invite them to think about how do we take this and share this magic with elementary school leaders to continue this in the elementary school years and in middle school. I think that Oakland right now, there's a lot of stuff going on. Our young people are not thriving in the way that they should. And this is like the glue that starts that, right? In the beginning, connecting with your special person, with your dad. So if we can take these little magical nuggets and carry them on, not just in preschool, I think that it could be really impactful. And I hope that that's something that continues.
Well, I want to continue what we've been doing, but also I want to note that we have some other father partners in here from Family Pass, Otis, his program. We send a lot of fathers. So I want to be able to do some new collaborations. And I know we also have invoked with tell me your titles. I know. Thank you. Dads Invoking Chains. I sent out your flyer. Baba and yes. At 81st, Baba and me, you know, I'm still sick. But I want to, yes, I sent those flyers out. And so the collaboration is not just with Fatherhood, it's the other father groups and with OUSD, since y'all got so, and like the continuation, and like you were saying, that you start with the babies and make sure that the fatherhood is in the schools and the sites with the preschool, and then continue on to elementary, high school. It should go on and on. It never ends. Just like parenting, it never ends. So so just for it to start these collaborations and making sure that, dads are seen, heard, and wherever they're at, and felt welcome. So that's what we need to, so yeah, I'm gonna get those collaborations going, so to continue.
Good job. Good job. All right. Working with families is not easy, as we know. Just being straightforward. You want to make sure that they're comfortable and that they're felt welcome. You want to encourage parents to come by, fathers to be there. If you see them, say hi. Ask them how they're doing. You never know what you're going to get from somebody until you ask them. Even if you need help with something in your classroom or in your school or anything like that and stuff, I just talk to dads. I make sure I meet them where they're at, and I see them where, as equals with me. I find it very easy and comfortable for me to talk to dads, because I'm a father of 5. I'm having another grandkid right now. My number 2. But going forward and stuff, it's and I talked to Renee, my colleague here and stuff. We've talked about setting up regular meetings more, collaborating between schools, making sure that we not just started at our own school, but we get other schools on board and stuff, and then trying to have an event with multiple schools and bringing those dads together that don't know each other, so that we could build the community around this part here, so that we don't feel separated, which we have somebody that's always trying to separate us right now. you know, so it's on us, the community and stuff, to bring each other back. You know, that's the only people that are going to do it, you know. So, you know, I'm looking for bigger and better things.
So on this panel, we talked about just it starting with one, getting yourself connected, doing bridge building and alignment. I think you saw Lisa just do this real time. This space is real fertile for partnership and sort of alignment. So make sure that you connect to the resources out there. I am also one of them and an ally for you all. Happy Father's Day. Let's give it up for our panelists today. Thank you so much.